So we believe that, or this bank believes 77% of people default on their loans. We want to make predictions about samples of size 200. So the very first thing we're going to do is identify our population and what we're calling success. This is a required step on the test. You will not receive credit for a problem if you don't write all this out. We're going to write out our population, what we're calling success. So in this case, population is a group, not a number. 7% of whom? The population is always going to come after the word of. People who get loans. And then what do the successful ones do? That'll come next. Missed payments. Population and success are groups, not numbers. So our population here is people who get loans. In this particular community, success is default on their loans or do not make their payments. Remember, success doesn't mean something good happened. It means the thing you're studying happened. Success is the thing you're trying to study. So now we're going to define our variable. You'll see when we get to the test, every question says, be sure to define your variables. That's what I mean right here. We're going to write out, let P be the proportion of the population that were successful. Of these that did that. Of people who took a loan and missed payments. That is a required step right there, identifying your variable. Okay, now we think this loan officer believes that that is a number of 7%. 7% of people do not make their payment. That's literally what it says right there. He believes that 7% of people who receive loans do not make their payments on them. So all of that is incorporated right here by writing this, but I have to write it out in words. Okay, now we're going to look at samples. Okay, so our Q, let's write down our Q first, 1 minus P, will be 93% of people who take loans fail at missing payments. Yeah, I know it's kind of backwards, but that's what that means. 93% of people who take loans fail at missing payments, meaning they make their payments. Now we have our samples. N is $200. So we're going to look at 200 loans. That's our sample size. We want to find, we really should check all the conditions, but I'm going to give you a hint here on any of these questions that have multiple parts. The fact that they're even asking us part C, asking us for a probability, means we must meet all the conditions of the central limit theorem. Otherwise, we can't even answer this question. So I'm not going to bother checking those conditions here. I know we meet them, or they wouldn't ask me this question. Okay, so we know we meet the conditions. That means each one of these possible samples of size 200 will have a sample average. Our P hats will follow a normal distribution. This is all possible samples of size 200. The mean, the average sample, will have the population proportion of success rate. And the standard deviation will be square root of PQ over N. So square root of 0.07 times 0.93 over 200. Let's throw that in the calculator because a lot of mistakes can happen here. So I want to do square root 0.07 times 0.93 divided by 200, and I want to make sure that everything I'm typing is all under that radical. Depending on what kind of calculator you have, it may not all automatically appear under the radical. If it doesn't, do it one step at a time. Do everything here, get an answer, and then take the square root of that. Make sure you can do this on your calculator. Check it right now on your own. Make sure you get that number. If you didn't, you typed it in wrong. So 0.018. That's our standard deviation. Okay, now I want to know what's the probability that the default rate of this sample he's looking at is more than 10%. Okay, so I want the probability that the sample success rate, p hat, is bigger than 0.10. So same steps as always. Draw a picture. Right in the middle, mu equals p is 0.07. My sample, p hat, is 0.10. I'm going to find my z-score, the one I want, minus the one in the middle, divided by that standard deviation I just calculated. Again, we got to be careful typing this in. So I like to just do the top, 0.10 minus 0.07, hit enter, then divide, divided by 0.018, 1.67. Okay, now we do normal CDF. The smallest thing I shaded to the biggest. 1.67, 99. I'm just going to type that in the calculator. So 1.67 up to 99, hit paste. 4.7%. or 0.047. Okay. Then we could write, we have to answer the question. Word problems have word answers. The question was, what is the probability? So literally, we're just going to take the question itself and tack this number into the question. So I would say here, the probability that over 10% of these clients do not make timely payments is 4.7%. So literally just from here, rewrite the question, put is the answer, is 4.7%. I'm not going to bother writing it, but that's what you would write.